3 things I stopped doing to protect myself while being single. I stopped waiting for people to come into my life so I could finally enjoy it, aka pause my life. This took me a while to figure out for myself because for many years I had the notion that I needed to find someone, I needed people in my life in order to enjoy my life and be happy. I paused my life until I could potentially find that person. It was so bad that when I started my first ever business, I did not enjoy that phase of my life. I was very unhappy and I was so focused on what I was lacking rather than the abundance that God was giving me. I would always question God and I would ask him, why would you give me a business and not give me a person to marry, since that's the only thing I want? I was way too ungrateful now that I look back on it. And it got to a point where I used to always speak it and I would say, oh, I will trade my business for a man any day. This is a sponsored section of this video. And what I've been wanting to do is I want to connect with a few women. This will be a giving back to you guys coaching call where I would help you with one thing for free. And so this could be around business, getting a business idea, how to start a business, anything that you've been feeling stuck on, relationships, friendships, loneliness, doubt, whatever that is. I want to help you with one thing. This would be like a 15 to 20 minute call. If you're interested in this, click the link in the description, and there's no obligations or tricks to this. I just want to be able to connect with you guys on a more deeper level. That's how bad it was. And guess what? That disturbed my peace. All I can say is, what were you thinking, girl? Saying all this stuff and not appreciating what you already had. I know I'm not the only one. I've seen too many people where they have such a great life, but then they get so focused on the one thing that they're missing that they forget to enjoy everything else. And I've gotten to a point where I have realized that I need to be more appreciative of where God has me and what he has given me. Wherever I am, I need to learn to enjoy the moments and recognize where I am and where he has brought me from and where I am right now. And as much as we don't like to hear this, aka me, I'm included in this, there's always something. As much as we may view it as a lack or something that we're waiting for, God is saving us from. And you don't know what it is. There's a reason why you don't have it yet. You know how many people I've seen see that they try to make it happen on their own, and then they realize later, man, I shouldn't have dabbled in that because now I found something that I'm trying to get out of my life that wasn't there before. There could be so many reasons on why you don't have that very thing, why you don't have that person. It could be maybe he's getting you ready for your promise and he wants you to be at a certain place first. Or maybe it could be that there's still some things that you need to work on. Or maybe that person's not even ready yet. Maybe they're not even where they should be yet. Or they're going through something. You just don't know. There was a time where I didn't think of it as protection. I looked at it as lack. And if you're in that place, it's time to look at the things that you don't have yet as protection. And the things that you do have as God's divine timing. That everything you have right now is you are exactly where you need to be right now. You're not missing anything. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing in lack. And it's time to get to a point where you look at your singleness as an opportunity to be in peace, as an opportunity to go after things that you want to go after and not wait on people. Being miserable and frustrated should not be the norm. Let me repeat that again. It is not a norm to be miserable and frustrated and depressed and not happy with where you are. That is not a norm. And we have to start normalizing that it's okay to remove things from your life so that way you can be okay with where you are right now. You'll miss out on so much if your only reasoning for pausing your whole life and waiting and putting on a hold is waiting for someone. You're going to be very disappointed. You'll be so blinded because you'll be only focusing on the things you don't have. You'll miss out on all the things that's happening around you. You'll miss out on being in the present. I think that's one of the things that most people don't talk about is how much the present is so precious. Do you know how many people I would talk to who are married who would tell me, I wish I did this before I did this, or I wish I enjoyed my singleness more. I always hear that, I wish I did this, or I wish I did more of this while I was single. You know how many people I've heard say that? And sometimes we miss the present moment. Being in the present is one of the most precious things that you could have. Every time I've missed the small things, I've always regretted it. There's been so many times where I would date and then I wouldn't date an ideal guy. Basically, I knew deep down it wasn't for me. And I would always reminisce about, man, maybe single is not so bad, especially if you don't have the right person. And I remember my mind used to always go there, and it'd make me have a new appreciation for being single. And it was something that I didn't realize until I'd be in a ideal situation that I think I was lacking in. And then I would look back and be like, man, I don't think single's that bad. Especially if I don't have to chase someone, if I don't have to constantly wonder, what are they thinking? Making me get out of peace, unnecessary peace. My singleness got better once I realized how much power I had. Once I realized that I was enough and the need for someone reduced, that's when everything got better. Once you realize that you don't need someone, then all of a sudden, all those frustrations and disappointments that you're having basically goes away. I found that everything got better once I saw, wait, I'm enough. And you replace it with other things. My singleness got better once I realized the power I had. And once the need for having someone reduced. Because all of a sudden, you start to reverse the lies that you absolutely need someone and you need to go based on what society's doing. Once you get that revelation that it's like you really don't need someone, it should be just an extra thing. It should be a want. But once you get to the point where you don't need someone and then everything you do is not wrapped around finding someone, and then all of a sudden your goals and your motives change, like, it's so freeing to be able to not be obsessed with finding someone and generally just going out and doing something that you enjoy and not feeling that constant urge that you need someone and that you are enough. It's such a powerful feeling once you get there. Once you stop believing that lie, you'll realize that it's all illusion of feeling like you are in lack. You have a lot more things going on for you than you realize. This is the second one. I stopped waiting on people to try new things. I stopped waiting and dreaming for that guy to come so that way we could start doing all my dream things together. And we all know that dream and probably have had that dream where you're walking to the mall and then you see a couple and you're like, man, I can't wait for that to be me. Or I can't wait to have that person so we can do those things together. It is time to change that mindset. If you want to do something, make it happen. Here's what I found, that whenever I waited on someone to make it happen, it caused me to get in a place where I didn't want to get to. It caused a lot of loneliness. When you get lonely, then you get desperate, and then you're trying to find someone to fill that loneliness because you're like, I'm feeling lonely, I'm not feeling okay. It just leads to a downward spiral. Nothing good comes out of it when you are just dreaming and reminiscing on waiting for someone so you can finally try the new thing that you want to do. You can still have desires and you can still have dreams while you take action and do the things that you could do now and use the resources that you currently have right now. So I wanted to play pickleball. And so a couple months ago, I had this urge, you know what? I'm not gonna wait for no guy to play pickleball. And so what I did, I got the idea where I was like, you know what, let me put it out there. I put it out in a few Facebook groups and I said, who would be interested in meeting at least once a week to play pickleball and get things going? And guess what happened? I got a lot of interest. Pickleball has been something that has become a new hobby of mine, where it's an opportunity to not only play pickleball, you're building really good friendships, you're meeting these women every week, and you're playing with them. And on top of that, I found that when I'm having bad days or just very down days, pickleball is something that lightens up my day. It's something that I look forward to. It's something that makes my singleness even more worthwhile. It's a place where I've been able to even share things that have happened in my life and give encouragement to other people and talk about dreams and goals. We get to have great conversations, laugh, bust a joke. And you know what's really interesting about it, it's really uplifting, is I got to really see progress. It's very motivating to see how we've been playing for just over 2 months and how much better we're getting. We're actually able to have longer games. And guess what happens from there? You get a better sense of self-esteem, you feel better about yourself, you feel more confident, and every time it reiterates to yourself that, hey, it's okay to be single, you can still have fun being single. I feel like some of you guys are single and you forget to do things that you genuinely enjoy that really confirms that it's okay to be where you are right now. It's important to be doing things that you enjoy for yourself, to remind yourself of the possibilities and to show yourself that you can have a good life in the present right now. And you don't have to wait for the future. You don't have to wait for someone. And hey, maybe I will meet the person they like playing pickleball too. Maybe, or maybe not. That's never guaranteed, but what's guaranteed is you making something happen and then sticking to it every week and building relationship with other people who are in different parts of their life. You need to find something that will give you evidence that being single is okay. And I'm saying this because if you're in that place, it's important to give yourself evidence and show yourself, hey, I'm okay with the way I am. I'm okay with where I am right now. And I don't need to find someone. Like, if that's something that you're struggling with, you need to combat it and fight it with something else and do things you enjoy. So when those thoughts pop up and it's like, I need someone, you can be like, no, I have pickleball. I'm having fun. I'm making friends. I'm laughing. I'm enjoying myself. That's how you have to think about it. And this is something that I would usually do for mindset, right? So it's like when I'm having a negative thought, I would then combat it with a positive thought. I would combat it with what God says about me. And so it's the same idea, is that if you're struggling with your singleness and you don't have peace, you're not very happy, you need to find evidence. You need to do things that proves to yourself that being single is completely okay. I was talking to a few friends lately where they've been talking about they've been wanting to focus on themselves because the inconsistency of the dating world. And right away I jumped in and was like, yeah, I got off the apps. And once I got off the apps, and this is going to be the third one, is that once I got off the apps, I found my self-esteem shot right up. This is just an update since I've been getting off the app. I've also found that my interest has went down. And because I'm having so much fun and I'm doing things that makes me happy, I've found that there's not that urge, there's not a need to talk to someone. And believe me, I've tested it because I was like, I want to test this because this is a real feeling. And there's not that same interest to be like, oh, I desperately need to talk to someone. Because now I'm occupying my time at other things. I have more friends, and then we're doing more things on weekends, so that's keeping me busy. And it's not saying that I'm not interested in a relationship, if God willing and he sends that to me. But my biggest realization for me as a Christian is during that period of time, I think God has made me see that unless he sends that person to me himself, I don't want it. I don't want it. Because choosing a relationship, it's one of the most important decisions that you're going to make for yourself. Because if you choose that wrong person, it can mess you up. And it made me understand a little bit better what I truly was looking for. Because once I got out of that desperate season, I'm in that lonely season, things just got more clear. We don't realize, because when we think of desperate, we always think of a woman like chasing 10 guys or desperately like begging for a guy. But sometimes desperate could just be where you don't realize how much of a codependency you have on the apps. So then it's altering what you're looking for, and it's slowly altering what you're willing to accept. It removes that mask of you feeling like there's nothing more out there than to just hop in bed, go on the apps, and then go to sleep. It makes you get out of that small scarcity mindset, and it widens your world to make you realize, wait, there's more out there. There's more things to do. I didn't realize how much I would constantly be defending myself, having to constantly say no all the time. It's like very frustrating having the other person trying to pull your string and see how far you're willing to go. Who wants to deal with that on a daily basis? I needed my peace back. My peace was way worth it than finding someone. It's an addiction. It's a straight up addiction. You don't realize how much you're depending on it until you start to withdraw from it. And then you look back and you're like, man, I can't believe like I was constantly on the apps and I was bringing terror to my life, not realizing that all I had to do was just let go of the apps, let go of that feeling like you need to constantly search, and you'll be so much happier. My peace is way more worth it to me than finding someone. And if it means that I'm more at peace and I'm way more happier, bring it. It is worth it to me to get off the apps. I feel like I've officially broken a stronghold off of the apps. People don't realize it until you get out of it. There's this stronghold that the apps have on people. And why I say this is because you'll hear women complain about the apps. They'll complain about the type of guys they're meeting. They'll complain about how they're feeling, how it's making them depressed and feeling low, and they'll still go back on the apps because their main goal is to find someone. That sounds like a stronghold to me, because why would you go back onto something if it's not benefiting you, if it's not lifting you up? That's an addiction right there. If something is not benefiting you, nothing is worth your peace and your self-esteem to find that desire that you want. You need to find a different avenue. If you take that same effort that you're putting into something that's bringing you down and getting out frustrated, and you put it into hobbies and you put it into going out with friends and making time and putting yourself out there and going to new places, you'll find that slowly that need to find someone would decrease. And notice I said need, right? Because really, if you're wanting someone, it's a want. It should be a want. But that need to feel like, oh, I need to find someone will start to decrease because you'll get to see that there's other things. Or if you're feeling lonely, you'll find that once you start occupying your time better, and you're doing other things, the loneliness will go down. And I'm saying this from personal experience of someone who's always felt loneliness. I don't feel like that anymore. The biggest hack right now is learning to put yourself first and realizing that when you focus on yourself, everything gets better. You'll start to attract better people in your life because you're getting better internally. People will see from the outside what's going on in the inside. Tell me 3 things in the comments that you have stopped doing to protect your peace while single.